If you have been around my channel for any length of time, if you've seen any of my past videos on EMPs, electromagnetic pulse, or the attacks on the power grid, you know that it's one of my biggest fears is an attack on our power grid here in the United States, or an EMP attack. Or it could be a coronal mass ejection from the sun. But a grid down situation is my number one thing that I prep for, and it's my biggest fear. If you watch the news, and if you've watched the news over the last several days, you probably have come across Venezuela being under attack. Their power grid has been under attack for several days. The entire country at one point or another has been without power. Most of the country is without power even today. They've restored it only to have it taken back down. Different parts of the country has had power restored, but the majority of the country is still undergoing power grid attacks. And most likely these attacks come from the United States and being orchestrated from the United States government. That's my research. That's what I tend to think, and what I tend to lean towards today. This is just a beginning. It's my opinion. This is just a beginning of what could be several attacks on power grids. Could be here in the United States, and I'll tell you why. If you've watched the news in the last several months or the last year, most likely you have seen that China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea all have been planning EMP attacks, and they are constantly trying to do cyber attacks against our power grid. That's been an ongoing thing for years, but it has ramped up in the last year to year and a half. One thing that concerns me and makes me believe that we could be next is because Russia and China has invested a ton of money in Venezuela. They have invested billions. Venezuela owes them billions right now. Venezuela tried to pull their gold out of the bank in England. They refused to try to pay Russia and China back some of those billions of dollars here a few months ago. And Russia and China has invested billions in Venezuela. Russia has invested a lot more than China with infrastructure, but both of them have a lot of investments in that country. Both of them have started investing militarily in that country. And if you don't think that they're going to retaliate for Venezuela on their behalf, because Venezuela owes them tons of money, and they can't pay them if their power grid's down and their country is destroyed. If you don't think Russia and China could pay us back for what we're doing to their power grid, you're sadly mistaken. If you've watched the news, or you've got online and looked up anything about EMPs or attacks on power grids, you will know that Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea have been planning attacks on the United States for a long time. Let me just read you a few articles just off. Let me just go to Google right here, read you a few of these articles straight off the bat here. Let's see. Here's one from Investors Business Daily right off the bat. China threat of EMP is real, and America needs to meet the challenge. Here's another one, Newsmax.com. China, Russia among countries developing super EMP bombs. Nuclear EMP attack is part of the military doctrine, plans, and exercises of Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran aimed at the United States. Here's one, Washington Examiner. New EMP warning, U.S. will cease to exist. 90% of the population will die. In nuclear EMP attack scenarios and combined armed cyber warfare, they said that the Russians have called an EMP attack against America. China. Here's another one from the Washington Free Beacon. China, Russia building super EMP bombs for blackout warfare with the United States. Here's one, The Sun in the UK. U.S. cities vulnerable to deadly electromagnetic pulse attack from China and Russia. Here's another one, U.S. would be crippled by EMP attack, which we pioneered nearly 60 years ago. That's from The Hill. And it's talking about China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. Korea and the failure to harden our electrical grid. Here's another one, Zero Hedge, China, Russia prepping for blackout warfare with super EMP bombs. Here's one, The New American, could U.S. warships in Taiwan Strait trigger an EMP attack? As you see, there's a theme here. All these right here, all these headlines have to do with China and Russia and EMP weapons. Here's one, True News, China, Russia building super EMP bombs. I mean, it's one thing after another when it has to do with preparing for an EMP attack or attack on the United States power grid. If you don't think this is real, you don't think that us going in there and messing with Venezuela's power grid, destroying that company. Marco Rubio had a tweet talking about how terrible things was right now with the power being out. People dying from lack of medical equipment that runs off electricity not being able to use to keep people alive. All kind of health problems right now with not having the electrical grid up and running. I don't remember the exact quote from him, but it's getting pretty bad. And I've seen a couple of news articles, and things have gotten really bad, really fast in Venezuela. There's been a lot of gang attacks and a lot of gang activity in Venezuela, and there's been several people killed that I've seen on news reports, and the country is falling apart. I mean, it is getting bad from what I can see from news reports and some of the senators who have come out on Twitter and made comments on what's going on in Venezuela. But let me tell you something. Russia and China heavily vested in Venezuela. I seriously think that we're going to get hit by either Russia or China when it comes to an EMP or an attack on our power grid over what's going on in Venezuela. Leave a comment. I may be totally wrong. You may have totally different opinions. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And I hope and pray that nothing happens here in the United States. That would be a tragedy. But everyone, you need to prepare. You need food, water, a means of self-defense. You need to get your medical supplies up to date. If you're on maintenance medicines and medicines that keep you alive, you need to see about making arrangements to make sure you have those things available. You need to have plenty of food, plenty of water, and be prepared, people. It may not happen today, it may not happen tomorrow or next month, but I got a feeling that it's going to happen at some point. We'll catch you next time.